Hi everyone, welcome to our episode 44. Yay!
44.
Wow,
Congratulations.
almost a year.
Wow.
Almost. Just I think 3 more so we can be a year already. So today we have a very special guest. We're going to talk about title insurance, so stay with us.
Okay.
So welcome and thank you for joining us. Another fun episode here with us at Good Day Chula Vista. Are you excited?
I'm excited to be here. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jose, for finally saying yes to one of our
Yes.
interviews. So before we get started, can I please beg you guys to share this video with your friends on your Facebook right now? And if you watch it later, after we're not live, you can share it after. But I think this is very important information. Today we have Jose Melara here, and we'll be talking about title insurance. We'll cover what it is, what it's for, how to use it, why you need to use it, many other things that he's going to cover. So, and I want to tell you that this is Jose's first video. Yeah,
It
we
is.
get him the first time.
A rookie on
A
stage.
rookie.
So take
so
it
what
easy
is it
on
that
me.
makes you nervous about videos?
You know what? We preach it all the time, right?
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I sit behind the camera a lot,
Right.
helping agents as yourself and
Uh-huh.
other people in the industry to expose themselves.
On social media.
On
to
social
get
media.
business and-
Absolutely. And yet, this is my first time on video, so I
But
should.
you do talk in front
I
of
should
our
practice.
meetings, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm shy at any point,
No.
but I don't know. I have not done anything on camera, so.
Yeah, because he usually does it in front of our meetings, and there's tons of agents, sometimes over 150 agents.
Yes.
And you're fine, and here there's nobody. It's only
It's
us.
just me and you having a conversation. That's how I'm going to
Exactly.
remember. I'm not going to picture my 6th grade where I was doing a recital in front of the whole school and I passed out.
Oh, you did?
Let's not remember those days. Okay,
Why, 'cause
sorry,
you
move
got
on.
nervous?
I think I got too hot, so we might have to turn the AC
Yeah.
on.
If it gets too hot, we'll just turn it
Yes,
on
so if
a
I
little
pass
bit.
out, please just splash some water on me. I'll be fine.
We will. Okay, you guys, so make sure if you have any questions, you participate, ask questions, say hi, say where you're watching us from. Make sure you put that on the comments. Where are you watching us from? What city? If you're here in the States, just what city you're at. And any comments are going to be put into the little wine glass that we have, and we'll do the raffle, a drawing at the end of the show. And today we're giving out, today's only Starbucks. We're giving out a gift card for Starbucks. But for the 1-year anniversary, we're gonna be giving out, I think, over $1,000 on gift cards.
Wow. How
And
exciting.
we're gonna give some awards to some people that have been supporting us throughout the show this whole
Yes.
year. So it's gonna be a good one. We have a lot of sponsors. When I say sponsors, it's not like they're paying for the show. It's just like they're giving gifts to clients, not to us. They're gifts that are going to clients. So I appreciate that. So make sure you stay tuned.
Absolutely.
So Jose,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about you, because I know you since
Sure.
you started, but many people don't know.
Yes. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself.
Uh-huh.
I'll start from the beginning. I was born in El Salvador.
Uh-huh.
Came here when I was young and grew up in mostly Los Angeles, Ventura County.
Uh-huh.
Moved down to San Diego when I went to San Diego State.
Uh-huh.
So I graduated from San Diego State. Go Aztecs.
Yay.
Let's see. And then from there started my title insurance
Mhm.
career. So it's been a little bit over 15 years since I've been in the industry.
Yeah, so when
Time
I met
flies.
you, were only 2 years.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
you saw me as a newbie into the industry, and I do remember that, like our first encounter and how sweet you were, and
Aw,
ever
thank you,
since
thank
it's been
you.
the same. So
Thank you.
I always appreciated your guidance even from back then.
So then you started in the insurance business. It's,
Correct.
In title insurance, and
Yes.
then you got married after?
Oh yes, I should include now
Yes,
married
that's right.
with 2 beautiful boys,
Uh-huh.
10 and a 12-year-old,
I
and
know
my
they're
beautiful
getting
wife.
older.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, time flies. I'll be
Yes.
going to his 6th grade graduation in June. So I'll
Two
have
boys.
2 boys. Yes.
Beautiful boys.
Yes.
They look like their mom.
They do. Luckily, they got the mom's genes.
No, they
so.
look like you too. So, and how do you like title?
I love it. So I get to wake up and work with wonderful people, clients of mine like FABY, and her team, and yeah, it was something that I did not go to college to to be a title representative, but it's something I fell into, and now I've just been in love, made it a career, and it's been great to me ever since. Yeah.
I think you love customer service.
Yes, I do
Right?
like working with people, and at the end of the day, like when you hand the keys over,
Yeah.
I get that wonderful call to give to my agents to let them know that it's confirmed and their client has now
recorded.
is a homeowner. So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful.
You know what? He really does get excited when we are able to. Sometimes, you know, we went through the short sales,
Yes.
and I can tell you it was like hell for everyone. Sellers were losing their homes. We were trying to close it and close it as a sale, so it wouldn't show up as a foreclosure on their title.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there were so many difficult things, and I think back then is when I realized that it's very important to have a really good title rep, because sometimes you have to do things after hours, go make line to make sure it records.
Yes, I
before.
remember those days, and it
Remember?
was a team effort. I think you hit it exactly right, Fabi. That it was a team effort back then. I was just having this conversation actually with a lender today, where we were looking back at those days, and I think especially in our community got hit the hardest.
Yes.
So we went through a lot of tough times, as a lot of the industry did, but we were looking at it as if you can make it out of that time frame, I think you can make it at any time, right? Because
That's
it's
true.
only
You
gotten
survive
better. If
that?
you survive that, you're a lifer in this business.
Yeah, you're
So
prepared for anything.
yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
because some of those titles were really hard to close, and the
Yes.
short sale approvals, you know, getting them to not expire before we
Correct.
recorded, and
Yeah.
some liens.
And the liens. So, and we'll dive into that a little bit later here. But how important, how crucial it was to have someone on your side to be able to walk and navigate. Knowledgeable.
Because sometimes we had to do things that had never been done before, and
Correct.
sometimes there's like this gray area that there's no rules,
Mm-hmm.
and because you guys had the experience, we were able to make it happen
Yes.
without doing anything illegal, you know, just
Correct.
following
Yeah,
the rules.
following the rules, but
sometimes there's those gray areas.
yes, I completely agree.
Okay, so let's jump into our first question.
Okay.
What is title insurance?
What is title insurance? So the best way to explain it, as a title representative, I get this asked all the time. What do you do? What is title insurance? Well, I'll give you what. First of all, my team is again helps me out to actually do all the work. We have a title officer, a crew that really does the process of going over the property. But what is it? It's pretty much it's ensuring that one of your biggest investments, which is a purchase of your home, is clear. Your title is clear. It comes to the new buyer with no baggage from the previous owners. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
Right.
And by doing that, we look at county records to pull all the information from deeds of trust, liens that we were talking about. That can include, there's many that we will go over, but to make sure again that it passes to the buyer clean, and that they're able to have
So that there's no
insurance.
liens and it's clean, just
Yes.
with their mortgage lien on it.
Yes. So going over that is like what kind of liens do we see on there? It is the deeds of trust, which is the bank ensuring, in most cases, that they'll take a loan from a bank, right?
Right.
So the bank wants to secure that loan to the property. So that's
Right.
one of the liens we see.
So you're
on
not
it.
able to sell it without paying them first. So,
Correct. Yes.
Or put any other loan on it without get it approved by them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So the title insurance comes into play when you're making a purchase or a refinance because of that reason. Yes.
So you guys check all that and make sure it's all done. So what do you guys really insure?
So we're insuring that's a great question, because a lot of people think we're insuring the items in the house or the house itself. It's actually the legal description,
Just the title.
the land of the title. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's completely different than your home warranty, your home insurance that for if someone were to rob your place.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's a one-time fee, and the difference between that is that we're looking at what has happened in the past. Whereas in a lot of insurance, when you think about it, like a car insurance, those are protecting you from future events. For example, if you're an offender bender, they're now protecting you of what will happen in the future,
Right.
and cover you in that sense.
So this one is the past. So
this is in the past.
So what
yeah.
if something happens after, if you guys miss something?
Yes, so that's where you're insured.
Okay.
So
if
we
something
cover
comes
that.
Up,
So if someone
lien, everybody missed it.
exactly, let's say it was some debt that was owed from a previous owner, we would now be able to start a claim and proceed in helping you figure out what went wrong. If we missed it, then we would pay for it. You would have that insured.
Yeah, so it's ensuring
correct.
me that I get a clean title, and that if
Yes.
anything happens after, I'm sorry, I bought your insurance, it's supposed to be clean, help me figure it out to clean it up.
That is correct.
And if they made a mistake, then they would pay for it. So that's why sometimes when they're doing title insurances, us as agents, we have to get our clients to fill out a lot of forms
Correct.
to make sure we have disclosed everything. So in case something was to happen after, we can say, well, we disclosed everything, title. If you guys missed it, then
yes.
it's
And
on you.
with that being said, we do a lot of research to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
So that's where it starts. So as
Right.
soon as the escrow opens, we get a call from FABY and her team that now we're in escrow. So we go ahead and start the preliminary report, which that's where we go into the county records. My team
Right.
is searching all these records from the county. So that includes everything from the vesting part of it. So who's on title, which is very key to who's going to be signing, right?
Right.
Who's going to actually be on the purchase contract
Right.
and be able to give up the vesting, the interest of the property to the new buyer.
And also, I noticed that you guys also check, like, just because sometimes you can change title by doing a quit claim deed. So let's say I'm doing a quit claim deed, and supposedly I gave it to my housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's not enough. You know, if something looks off, they'll be requiring more paperwork. Just because I'm
Yes.
on title, they want to see how I got title to the property. What was the procedure? What's the backup paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps, because if you're buying a house from someone, you want to make sure they really own that house.
Correct.
So they do request a lot of paperwork sometimes, and I know us as agents, we get frustrated when you guys start asking for all of these things. Like, what's the problem?
Right.
It's your house. But when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense when you're requesting all that paperwork.
Correct, because we are insuring this. So
Yeah.
absolutely, you made a great point, Fabi, that you can record a document with having a notary sign as you sign, and then go record it at the county. Yet we're going to investigate why was that document recorded. Example, for a grant deed, if you're transferring your interest to a person without selling it, right? Let's say you're just adding someone on to title. Well, we want to make sure that, first of all, that document's valid, that was notarized, it was the seller giving a certain interest into it. And just to make sure, because when they're now selling the property, we're going to need everyone that's on that vesting to sign off to be able
Right.
to sell that property to the new buyer. Yeah.
It's always, I think, a good idea to get a copy of your title, because it happened. I mean, it happened to somebody that I know, and I think you helped me with that. It was somebody we know, and there was something on their title that they had no idea that was there. And sometimes, like,
Yes.
I never check my title. I mean, I never go and request a new copy. How can they get a new copy?
Well, we can always pull up, it's public records, to get the information of what you would really want to make sure the vesting is correct. So, like you talked about in the short sale, we saw this a lot where people were in trouble in regards to their house being upside down, and they were looking for some sort of relief. And there was these companies coming up and saying, like, hey, we'll help you keep your house without losing it. Just put us on title, right? And they would take a small percentage of it, so telling the seller that, hey, they won't foreclose on you because of this. Well, at the end, this created pretty much a mess on the title of the property, where when they went to sell it, there would be this LLC or somebody else's name on it, and everyone would be asking, who is this? What relationship is this to the person? And the seller would be like, I don't know. Right. Well, that's the kind of stuff why title insurance is so important, because we're reviewing these records to make sure that everyone that has signed for it, it was legitimate, and that it wasn't falsified under certain pretenses of what they would gain out of it. So we were just, the validity of the documents is very important.
That's why you guys request all that extra paperwork.
All the extra paperwork. And go ahead.
So since we're talking about that, maybe
Yes.
Let's go into the other one, which is what types of liens or clouds do you see on a preliminary report?
So once we establish the preliminary report documents, a lot of times these are common.
Preliminary report?
That's our search. That's what we do. The preliminary search is what we do with the county and pulling all the records on what we're going to insure.
Okay.
So we want to make sure we show it to you and your clients and let them know, like, this is what we found.
And this is what we're working on.
This is what we're going to have to work to clear to pass over clean title to the new buyer. So a lot of those examples would be HOAs, homeowners associations, right? If there's any dues that have been attached to someone not paying their HOA dues, we would see a lien on that.
Let's go a little bit into that, because a lot of people don't know that happens. When you're late on your HOA 3 months, it usually takes 3 months. Almost everything is 3 months before they proceed on doing anything. So if you're late on your HOAs for 3 months, they'll send your file to an attorney, and then the attorney files a lien to make sure they get paid in case you sell.
Correct.
And they want to get their money back, so they'll put a lien on your property. So that's the first one.
Yes. That would be an example of what we'd see on a preliminary report. Easements, that's something that we also would pull up. More common ones would be your SDG&E, your cable, your water. They all have to have access to that property. So again, we insure, right, the land, the legal description, and with that point, there's going to be electricity that needs to be run.
Right.
So we have to show those easements to make sure that you don't, if you're, for example, putting in a pool, you know that there's an easement that can't be touched at that point, because you will be on top of something that needs to be
That's
done.
something very important
Yes.
that a lot of the agents don't check. And when you see an easement on title, you always want to double check with your title rep and say, okay, what is this easement? Because usually they say, oh, it's just an utility, it's gas and electric. Yeah, but what about it? Is it in the middle of the lot, like he's saying, and then now you can build a pool? Is it something that's going on top of it?
Yeah.
What is it? So you want to make sure that just because you see that it's San Diego Gas and Electric, don't assume that it's not going to affect you. Make sure you really look into it.
We also provide plotted easements. Here in more of the suburbs, the subdivisions that are newer, they're really cookie cutter, right? So there's not much you have to look for in that sense. But in these other areas, for example, here in Bonita would be a great example. Lakeside, a little bit more rural or more land. Yeah, sometimes you have easements that run right through the property, right? That will stop you from building or adding something in the future. So yeah, it's something that we can plot and show you exactly on a map where they're at, and that could help your decision making if that property is right for the new buyer.
Right.
Yeah, so that's good examples of easements. Property taxes, we also pull the tax bill, which is very important. If there's any late taxes, of course, those need to be paid off before the new buyer comes into ownership. Solar has been a recent one. Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's been a fun one in these last couple years, because it's new. It's new to the industry, right? So we've had to work with them, and they all had different procedures, and I think now we're finally seeing how it all integrates and making it a little bit smoother. But we want to make sure the transfer of the solar, that the buyer's aware of it. If there's a lien attached to a monthly payment, does the lender know that they have to qualify for that? So there's a lot of stuff that
there's a lot of
they need to be
escrows
aware.
that cancel because of that.
We had a time frame where yes, we weren't all on the same page because it was so new.
We were learning.
Exactly, it was learning. But I think now
you guys got it under
we
control.
got it. Yeah, I think everyone, even including
now
the solar.
Now we know if it's a lease, it's usually transferable. But if it's a loan, it needs to be paid off.
It needs to be paid off
before.
Yes,
right.
or qualified to the new
to take over.
To take over. Obviously, what we love to see is if they just purchase it outright or pay for it.
Or pay it off at close of escrow.
Close of escrow would be the best. Yes.
Right. Okay, what's the other one?
Let's see. We talked
also
about.
check the chain of title.
Yeah, I think we touched
went
base
over
on
that.
that. Yeah, on the vesting to make sure the correct sellers are signing on the purchase contracts.
Okay, so then those are the types of liens. So that's why I was saying, make sure that you check your title once in a while, pull that report, and see, because sometimes even credit cards.
Yes. Yeah.
Credit cards can put a lien on your property if you're not paying them and you're delinquent, and or an attorney if you owe fees to an attorney. I've never seen any medical.
Medical can be attached.
Now
So
you're doing
any
that too?
So that's why we run what's called a statement of information. We ask our agents to present that to their seller at the beginning of the transaction, because that gives us all the information, not only the names but the social, all the information that we would need to make sure any of those liens are our personal are personal liens,
Right.
but they can attach them to the property.
Right.
And what we want to do there is just make sure they don't come up at the end, right, when we're trying to close.
Yeah.
So if we see them ahead of time, then we can
Negotiate
inform
them.
everyone, negotiate them. Not all the times do they have to be paid off. Sometimes they can be released, right, if you negotiate them. Those kind of liens that
We were doing a lot of those during the short sales.
During the short sales were good
a lot
examples
people
of
were-
those.
I mean, we were all
Yeah.
in a hardship, so we were not paying our credit cards.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and they would go on the title of our property. So then, when we were trying to do a short sale, the credit company would be like, "No, I want my money first." But we were able to back then. We were able to just sign a note, like, "We'll pay you later. Let me
Later.
sell the house," but we
Right.
would sign a note.
Yeah, now in these days where you see now that everyone has equity built and there's money coming to the seller, they're
They
gonna
want
want
their
to get
money.
paid. Yes.
Yeah. They want to get paid.
Yes, absolutely.
Of course. Okay, so then that's what I was saying. Let's check on title, make sure there's no liens there that you don't know about, and then you're not facing them when you're getting ready to sell.
Correct.
Okay, and then the difference between other insurances.
Yes. So I did want to mention that unlike your car insurance, it's not a monthly fee. It's a one-time fee that you pay up front. Typically, I put an example of $500,000 home. You're gonna pay $1,600 for a fee on your seller side. If there's a loan attached to it, there's also a concurrent lender policy that they request. So you're gonna average about $2,000 to insure one of your biggest investments. It's a no-brainer, right? To do that.
And who pays for that?
Typically, it's done the seller pays his seller policy, and then the buyer pays their lender policy if they have a loan being attached to the property. But that can be negotiated, but that's mostly the case, right?
We usually
You see
ask
on
the
the
seller to
contract.
pay for it, and then the other part is very small, so then the buyer pays for it, for their own little part.
Absolutely.
So that's the difference. So it's not an insurance. Like
It's not a monthly fee that you
It's not a
gotta pay.
monthly fee,
Yeah.
one-time fee.
Yeah, and it covers you until you refinance the property or sell it. So.
Jose, I don't know like how prepared we are to talk about this, but I remember that we talked about before.
Yes.
Sometimes when there's unpermitted stuff or that the neighbor is on your property, they built onto the property that you bought.
Okay.
Is this insurance, does it cover part of that in case there was an issue?
So we have a sheet that kind of runs through what we cover in regards to that information on permits. We try to do our due diligence ahead of time, right? We do go down to the county and check any kind of permits if there's something that looks it's different, right?
Right.
So because an inspection is done, and if you see, let's say, a garage that no longer looks like a garage that we've seen before, right? That's been turned into another room.
Right.
We definitely need to do research on that. But that is the buyer's responsibility to do their due diligence as well.
Right.
We try to get as much information on it because it'll cover you to an extent, but it's stuff that needs to be, again, at least looked at before you close your escrow to know what's going on.
And also, if you find out an
non-permitted.
issue after, just remember, like, there's a lot of things that your title insurance covers, and I didn't even know. I remember there was a case where the swimming pool, part of it was on the neighbor's lot, and nobody
caught
catch
it.
that. No,
Yeah.
and nobody caught it. And the title insurance, it was not your title insurance, but some other title insurance. And they were telling us at a class, it wasn't even nobody here in our community, but the title insurance ended up paying for that. You know, they had to redo the pool because they didn't.
Wow.
They didn't
Yeah.
catch
Yeah.
that.
I mean, that's what it's there for, right? It's for those kind of
So make sure
examples.
you check. You know, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
things that you would
Yeah.
think they don't cover, but it doesn't hurt to ask,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely.
File a claim.
And if you look on our website or even our Facebook page, we do have the coverages and what exactly it covers to make sure, because our homeowners policy is the not the basic, I'm sorry, it's an extended coverage, and it's what we default to. So if it's a residential SFR, single family residence here, that's what we're gonna will use unless stated by their seller or by the buyer that they want something different.
Okay.
So it will give you the full coverage.
Okay, so make sure that you check on that.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the agents that are watching us, I know that I have a lot of friends that watch us here. Remember, like, try to meet with your title rep and ask That's what because that's how I learn. I know that sometimes you have little classes when you guys talk about title, and I think it's important because reading it is just complicated.
I was gonna say it's a lengthy report, and if you want something to fall asleep to, it's a great thing to pick up because it will put you to sleep. But I think you're absolutely right. As the team, FABY, relies on her team to be the experts on each piece of the puzzle, right? So we have escrow that handles their portion, title to handle their portion. But when we see certain flags, yes, it's best that you have a team like this where you can depend on everyone having their set of eyes on it and us discovering if there's any issues that we need to clear up before the close. So yeah, I would love to say all my agents know everything that's on a prelim. I'm sure they don't, but that's why they keep experts like us around. Yeah.
I always ask, like, Jose, can you go through this with me, make sure that everything is fine, you don't see anything, because like the small print and all, some stuff is complicated. So I want to make sure that I'm telling my buyer, we're fine. So who better than an expert to go over the report? That's what they do every day, so they read them. Same thing with escrow. Like sometimes they'll send Claudia and I to review the escrow instructions. I'm like, I'm not an escrow officer. You have your manager review them. So we don't approve those because I'm not an expert on escrow instructions.
No, and we don't expect you to be. So that's what we're here to help you out.
We love you. Okay, so now we're gonna get into this one that I always get so confused, and then people are always asking me like, how should I hold title?
How should I hold title?
And
yes.
It's complicated because it's a legal thing, and we can get in trouble if we advise them the wrong thing, and then something happens, they come back to us like, well, you told me to hold title that way.
Correct.
So we're always very careful. We have some forms that Ticor Title gave to us, and it explains what it is. But even reading them, it's still a little complicated. So when you don't really know, who do you ask?
Yes, that's a great question and something we get asked all the time. But just like you said, I think you responded the correct way when even talking to your clients, right? We don't want to give you advice because we're not legal experts in that sense. And the best thing to do is, yes, review our documents. It does explain each one and the differences and how you can hold title. But again, I would always advise, talk to your CPA, talk to your accountant, because there's attorneys.
If you have a trust.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of tax ramifications that can affect you down the line if you didn't do it a certain way in your situation. And everybody's situation is different. That's what's key.
That's
true. Even with FABY's expertise, you could be saying one thing, but at the end, you don't know the whole situation. And that's how I have to also take it when I'm asked, how do you, what's my best way of holding title?
Like,
Definitely speak to the accountant, the people we just spoke about. But just to give you at least a little bit of sense of what usually happens.
So before you go into that one, because I know we have a lot on that one to cover. I think there's 4 of them, right?
I was just going to cover the two
most
common ones that I see.
So before we do that, I wanted just to show you, not to get you nervous, but I wanted to show you everybody that's here. So let's start.
What are we looking at? All your friends.
Well, your friends too. There's everybody that's here. There's Karen. There's Maria, Sarabia.
Hi Karen. Hi Maria.
So there's a lot of agents here besides all of our clients.
Yes.
So I think.
Oh yeah.
See there. So Claudia is taking over there in case somebody has a question, like she'll let us know. But make sure you guys are giving us your hearts, because when you guys give us hearts, we get more views, and
we love hearts.
Facebook will promote our video for free, even though we pay to promote it, but we like the freebie. So make sure you're giving us a lot of hearts.
Yes.
I don't see any. I'm holding you accountable. Okay.
You gotta hold the heart.
Okay, there's some. They're coming in. They're coming in. Okay, so now.
So I can cover. No.
See?
Not at all. Just 1,000 people watching us.
How's
so that's all right.
Because he was nervous and he wanted to be here an hour earlier to practice.
Yeah.
Thank God he didn't get here an hour earlier.
I was here an hour earlier, but no one else. I was by myself.
I think you're doing great. You have to do this more often. Okay, so let's go over those 2 that are the most common ones.
The most common ones, just to give your viewers
ways of holding title.
Ways of holding title. Joint tenancy is probably the most common one we see when it's held by a husband and wife purchasing a new home.
Joint tenancy.
Joint tenancy. And what that basically means is that you're going to take it as a husband and wife, 50-50, and interest on both parties. And if someone were to pass away, then that interest would now transfer to the surviving spouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's surviving rights.
Surviving rights, survivorship, yeah.
So joint tenancy gives you surviving rights.
Yeah.
So if I die, I don't have to worry that my family is fighting the 50% that I own from my husband. They'll just...
It goes directly to your...
If I had a husband, but I don't, so I need to keep it all. Okay, so that's what that one. Joint tenancy.
As your son's shaking his head, no.
He's like, we're keeping it.
Exactly.
We have a trust, so trust me, I have it all figured out.
I was going to say, even after this, that was going to be my final line is a trust is very important. I believe you had Lorena here.
We had
Lorena that was an expert in that. And from everything, you can attest to that we've seen with problems when they didn't have a trust. It is very important to have.
All the money they have to pay. It's unbelievable the amount. So
Avoid
your kids
probate.
or your people that you let the property to, they end up having to sell. There's no way they can pay all those taxes. It's unreal. Okay, so joint tenancy, 50-50, survival rights.
And then tenancy in common is the other one that's usually done where you're trying to split a certain amount of interest.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be two. So if it's, let's say, 4 individuals that are taking over a property and they want to split it 25% each. So you're showing how much percentage you have in the property. And then the survivalship changes now. So it could be left to the heirs. So it could be left to your son, your portion of the property. It doesn't automatically go to the surviving.
So for example, if I buy a property with Claudia and Jaime.
Yes.
And we split it, 1/3 each.
1/3 each.
So something happens to us, then his portion can go to whoever he left it
as
and then
well. Your portion would go to
to
your heirs. Yeah. So in that case you'd have a will, some sort of testament showing how you want to leave the interest. But
so in this one, can you also change it so it's not 1/3? Can I own 10%
absolutely.
and he own 50%?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be 1%. And 99% yours. So yes, it could be distributed the interest of it in different ways.
So that's only in tenancy in common.
Tenancy in common, yeah.
We have a question.
Okay.
Can you have your child be a part of a joint tenancy?
Who was that question?
That's a great question.
Karen, thank you for asking. So can you repeat the question?
So the question was, can you have your child on vesting with you? On there with you as a joint tenant, as long as they're 18 is what's key, because anything below that you're not of legal age, so you will have issues when they try to sell.
Right.
But yes, you can add a child onto your title.
Right. We have to check with our attorney what happens in that case if you die and then you have your son on title. Does it, is it gonna affect with them keeping the property? They don't have to go through a probate.
Correct. If they're on there, yeah, absolutely. It stops that from going through a probate, because now you've left there's interest that's left on joint tenancy. Yes.
Okay. So it would be joint tenancy, not tenancy in common. Because tenancy in common, they can still go to probate if we don't have like a will.
You want to have a will attached to that.
Right.
And if we go back to talk to your attorney, your accountant, and CPA for your situation.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But I can emphasize how important a trust is because of all this. It solves a lot of this. Not only that property, but all your assets, right? So.
See, this is when it gets all confusing to me. I'm like, okay, so what happens? So would that require a will, or are they already on title? There's so many things that you need to really understand when you own a property. That's why it's always better just get a trust. Just get a trust, talk to your attorney, get it done, and that way you don't have to understand the whole thing.
Correct.
Let your attorney help you do the best.
Let the experts tell you how to do it.
Okay, so I think you covered that one. Trust is always best to go. Okay, so you said that about the trust. Anything else that we're forgetting to talk about title? Jaime, Claudia, any questions?
There's another one from earlier. How many records are still only available by microfilm?
What?
What's that?
I'm sorry.
Who asked that?
How many records?
Eileen?
Yeah, she said how many records.
She's speaking of Jose.
Oh my gosh, she totally is. She's like, I'm gonna throw a question out there. Thanks, Eileen. Yeah, you made me blush. How many records on Monkey Street?
Everybody knows
you
that
know
this
what?
is Jose's first time, so
So,
we're picking on him.
yeah, they are.
So what was the question?
How many records are still only available by microfilm?
I'm going to go ahead and default to, I'm not old enough to remember the microfilm and how they used to go pull it back in the days. We'll have to ask Tony, my older partner.
He's in here
the
watching too.
Tony, help your friend.
She said I did, meaning how many are digital and how many are still on microfilm.
Oh my gosh.
What is that?
So back in the days, it was before it was all digitalized.
Uh-huh.
They actually had to pull the prints manually.
Oh.
I do not know that answer, Eileen.
I remember doing that when I worked for the at the base. We had to find track invoices
Right.
for supplies, and we had to go through those things, put them on a screen.
That's
and then follow it.
exactly. So that's how
The
it used to be
slides
too.
or-
Damn,
Yes.
you're a fossil.
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Be quiet.
That was before my time.
Only
Sorry,
my
Eileen,
son
I
would
don't know
tell
the
me
answer.
Who is your tailor?
that.
Someone
Oh,
said
they have to see his socks
Oh
They're
gosh.
like, Jose,
Wait.
who is your tailor? Tony
I
said
get-
0 documents.
0 documents.
There's none
It's all
left.
electronic. There we go. That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yay!
That
thank
makes
you,
a lot of
Tony.
sense. Thanks, Tony, for being there
Coming
for me.
through for your
Nice.
So I want to say thank you to everyone that's here watching us, especially because you know what? This makes Jose feel very special. Because this
Thank
is
you
his
for
first
having
time.
me,
You have a
yeah.
lot of support. Look, Eileen.
Aw.
Eileen is here even though she's always busy. She's speaking in
I love it.
Summer. We have Jaime, Lisa, Paul Montanos there.
Nice.
Leslie Peraza, Melissa Medina.
All our friends. I love it.
Hi, Leslie. Chuck LaFleur, Melissa. Oh, she made a comment. Karen, Esperanza Close. Mika from Escrow. She's
Hi,
here.
Mika.
Hello. Marta Martinez. I mean, you don't know them, a lot of them, but you sold them their title insurance.
Great.
'Cause they're my
Thank you
clients
for
and-
using us.
Yes, so this is Ticor Title. This is the person that sold us your title insurance. We have Alan Alvarez. He's a cop, a San Diego police officer.
Hello.
Jenny, Merav. I think Merav used
Hi.
to give
Yes,
you
I
all her-
remember
yeah?
Merav. Yes, I
Merav
just saw her.
Castañeda.
Of course.
She's here. María Elena Espinosa, Sandra
Hi.
Hendricks, Perla
Oh,
Vanessa
thank you.
Duarte, Perla. Yeah,
Hi.
she's there. Tony Santiago. Okay, Mika has a question or she just made a comment? Let's see.
She just made a comment. He's one special guy, always available.
Aw.
Oh, she
Thank
also
you,
said,
Mika.
Investing in trust is far more popular than ever before. That's Mika saying. Be sure to have your deed reviewed by
Very
counsel
true.
prior to recording to ensure it's vested properly. Thank you, Mika. Mika is our expert escrow officer.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah.
again, you're surrounded with a great team. I'm lucky to be surrounded with great
Yeah, this
individuals
person.
on our team, from escrow to title to everyone. So
We're just a big team. How
Big
many
team.
agents do we have here now? Oops. And Cobo Banker
Oh.
West.
600?
I think it was
Higher?
a little over 700.
700? Wow. See, they just keeps growing and
It's a
growing.
lot, but there's how many offices? 6 or 5?
6 offices.
6 offices. And then Petco is coming
Yeah.
soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's been coming for 2 years. I keep hearing.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be there soon.
So yeah, Peter's doing a good job. The managers
Yeah.
are doing a good job recruiting and keeping the agents here. So we're gonna do the drawing. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget, we're having our anniversary show June 27th.
Put it on your
20
calendars.
Yeah, make sure you join us. We're gonna have big prizes and some recognition awards for a lot of you. So you're gonna pick what?
I get to pick it? All right.
Who is it?
Can I read it out?
Yes.
Melissa Medina.
Melissa!
Congratulations.
Yay! She just had 2 babies, twins.
Oh, wow.
She has 4 kids now, so
And we
she
need
So-
needs some Starbucks.
So I was gonna say you're gonna need more than enough caffeine to
Yes,
stay
Nelly,
up.
we need to send you more than one gift card. One for you, one for your husband, one for your mom.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. Well, thank you, all of you. This was great. Thank you for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me.
You need to come and talk about more things. 'Cause I know
Okay.
you have way more to let our viewers know. I
We
know
can do it. Absolutely.
Okay, well, if you don't have anything else to add, we'll just invite you to watch us next week. We have a lot of other videos. Like he was saying, we have the one for Lorena, if going over the trust family trust, probates. We have the ones with our CPA going over all those, how you can save money on taxes. But we have 43 other videos, so make sure you scroll down, or you can go to our YouTube channel and you can see more there. And we have an open house this weekend on Saturday, 12 to 4 at 950 River Oaks, Unit C. It's a townhome here in East Lake Greens. So I'll be there from 12 to 4. Come and say hi. You can bring me a Starbucks or whatever you want. Okay, well, thank you, Jose.
Thanks for having me,
I'm going to
Fabi.
call you Joselito.
Joselito. You have since the beginning, so.
Yes, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.